hovering above the trees. As the shock wears off, the three return to the car, but the door handle is too hot to touch. The craft suddenly emits a beam of light directly at the car, catching Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and her son Colby in its intense heat. The three are frozen with terror, until a deafening sound splits the night air as military helicopters suddenly appear and chase the UFO off into the night. Almost immediately, the three victims of the UFO encounter begin to experience nausea, vomiting, weakness, and a burning sensation on their skin. Betty Cash suffers the worst, losing patches of hair and skin. She is admitted to the hospital on January 3rd, 1981, where she remains for 15 days. An examination by a radiologist determines the three were exposed to high doses of ionizing radiation. What was a UFO doing hovering over a desolate Texas forest? And why did it attack three people without provocation? Perhaps the most disturbing of all is the response by the American military. How could they have responded so quickly and with such force, unless they were already prepared for just such an encounter? Amazingly, the Cash-Landrum encounter is anything but an isolated incident. 4% of the world's population, 280 million people, claim to have not only encountered aliens, but many of those victims have experienced horrifying scenarios. Unsealed case file. The Travis Walton Incident. Arizona, November 5th, 1975. Travis Walton is working on a logging crew in the forests of Arizona. After his shift ends, the crew are driving back to camp when a bright light is spotted just off the road, partially obscured by trees. As the crew approaches, a large silver disc, roughly 20 feet in diameter, can be seen as the source of the blinding white light. Walton and his fellow workers stop to investigate. It's a decision Travis Walton would come to regret for the rest of his life.
The closer I got, and it wasn't going anywhere, and I was, thinking about how foolish it was for me to be doing this, but I was kind of showing off for the crew a little bit, and they were getting pretty excited and yelling at me to get back in the truck. When I got up to it, it was making this sort of a rocking motion. And right at that instant, something hit me. Next thing I knew, I was regaining consciousness, but I was in a lot of pain. I saw these forms over me, and when I finally got it into focus, I could see this creature looking at me, and I just flipped out. I looked around, there were three of them. The one that was closest to me, I tried to hit him. I could hardly move, and my arm felt real heavy, and I was weak. Somehow got the strength to get off the table.
Travis was found several miles from the site of the abduction and could only recall a few hours of his close encounter. But even more disturbing is that 5 days had passed. Shortly after, he and his crew underwent a polygraph test. They were asked, "Did you tell the truth about seeing a UFO last Wednesday when Travis Walton disappeared?" All answered yes. Travis Walton's encounter left him unscarred physically, but emotionally, he may never fully recover. Emotional shock is common among abductees. Their traumatic experience is often something that haunts them for the rest of their lives. Coming up, why are aliens abducting humans? And what horrifying evidence has been discovered?